Review time with Imperial. Today review would be Gemini Man starring Will Smith. Co-stars is Clive Owens and Mary Winstead. Let's get into it. Now, you seen the preview, so the trailers pretty much tell the bulk of the story. It's just a matter of watching to see how it all plays out. So you have Henry, who is Will Smith's character. It starts off the movie where he's on an assignment to kill, and it's a moving train, and he kills the guy with a sniper shot from way off on a moving train. So that's to show how good he is. However, he didn't feel good about it. So that warned him that he wants to get out the game. So I guess his communication person he reached out to saying he wanted to get out the game. The communication person showed up, basically tried to talk him out of it, but he told him, after you did it for so long, basically you don't feel right about doing it. He's starting to grab a conscience. So from there, he said he basically want to retire. When he goes out to retirement, he takes off on his boat. And when he takes off on his boat, he shows up somewhere and docks his boat. The person he's used to seeing at the place wasn't there. Was this new lady there? That's the woman that you see. She was there. So he already picking up like that's odd, because she said the other guy retired, and she said she was studying whatever, but it was like generic bogus stuff. So he was already picking up all that. So he basically went out on his boat. When he went out on his boat, he met with one of his boys from when they was in the service together. His boys pretty much told him his contacts who he been talking to pretty much said that people are after him, and he pretty much needs to be careful. He's being recorded. He didn't know he's being recorded this whole time, and his boy was out in the middle of nowhere, and he went out to him. But his boy, before he left, he, instead of saying who his contact was, he typed it out for him to see who his contact was. So when he returned to the dock, he pretty much accused the girl, basically like saying she wasn't who she said she was. And then he asked her out for dinner, and when he showed up to dinner, he showed her the papers who he was, who she really was. So then she's like, I'm pretty much burned. And that night, people was sent to kill him. So behind the scenes, he don't know the dude who trained him is setting him up to get out of there and saying, Operation Gemini, I'm going to have one of our soldiers go kill him. And the woman that he was under, which is the DIA, she was like, let me handle it. So she sent her guys out to kill him, but of course they wasn't successful. And he went and told the girl, hey, he started feeling her like she wasn't in on it. She just was there to monitor what he was doing. And so they took a random boat. She got rid of her phone, and they met one of his other homies that was in the service with. He flies the plane. And so they were way somewhere that they couldn't, but they kept, everywhere they went, people would keep finding where they was at. So this is when this time he ran into his clone or whatever. So him and the clone shooting at each other. Good fighting scene. Great fighting scene between or whatever. And they did it wasn't the best CGI on making Will Smith look younger, but it was good enough. And then you had the stunt doubles or whatever, so it was all mixed in there. So it was good enough though, that showed his but it was some moments where you were like, it was a little messed up there, but overall it was decent how the CGI made Will Smith look younger. And then from there they warred with each other, and Now Henry is scrambling to find out what he just seen. So the clone dropped like a hat or something, and when they went over to meet the contact of his friend, she did a DNA test and then found out he's not your son, he's actually you. So it's a direct 100% match. So he's wondering, now they putting it all together that he was cloned, and because he was the best or whatever, and all his war buddies was getting killed. So he kept wondering how they was finding him. So he meets his contact from his boy that got killed, and he meets the contact, and the contact like, we got a common enemy, yada yada yada, and but he was like, oh, that was great work, what you did to get out of your house. And he was like, well, how did you get to see, how did you know what I did or whatever? He said, well, I'm a fan of your work. And he just left it like that and walked off. And then you never see him again in the movie, but that's like a setup. So if this movie does well in the movie theater, that's like a hole that they left. So, the clone, they reach an agreement to get a trade-off for the girl, and the clone was supposed to come get the girl, and the clone shows up, and then they get a fighting scene, but at this point they get in the clone head, telling them basically, look at me, I'm you, and breaking everything down and saying the person you call your father, he lied to you. And so Clive Owens, that's his character, he calls him Junior. So the clone approaches him and is now he's confused, because he thinking he was just abandoned, but he really wasn't, and his whole life has been a lie, and the whole time he's a clone. So Henry, his boy that can fly planes, and the girl, they want to go back to the U.S. because they was in Budapest, and they still don't know how they was kept finding them. So they arrive somewhere, and when the clone and Henry was talking, he was telling them everything about him. So the clone knew he knew too much. That was personal. So the clone was waiting for him, shot him with bee venom, and he's allergic to bees. So when he started to die, the clone injected him to save him. Pretty much told him like, yo, I had to make sure it was true. And he was like, the way they keep knowing where you at, he had a chip in his arm, and when he had surgery like 3 years ago, they installed a chip in him. So that's why they knew all his movements. So pretty much a big scene at the end of the movie, big fight scene. You fighting the whole Gemini, and then the clone is on the roof. They call him Junior in the film, but the clone is on the roof. He's there with his father, Clive Owens, and then he don't shoot him. He pretty much hit him, knock him out, and then he goes and help Henry and the girl, because they was pretty much taking out all the Gemini soldiers, and he comes and help them. And then when Clive Owens' character wakes up, it's a guy in a whole suit, and he pretty much sends him to go kill. And he's moving real fast, and he goes to where the clone and Henry is, which is Will Smith, and he goes and fight them. He doing ninja tricks and all that. So they eventually kill him. When they take the mask off, it's another clone. So you're like, oh wow. So what, he made a whole army of them? So then Clive Owen's character pretty much come up, and he's saying, hey, well, Junior, which is the clone, he's saying he was there with him, giving him a father. So that still made him human. This other clone didn't have none of that. So he's just a straight soldier. So each time he's making these clones better. So he pretty much is stating, if we had a bunch of clones, families would never mourn again or losing loved ones to battle and stuff like that. But you're still playing with humans though. So, he kind of made sense, but then you got, depending where you at with that. So Junior, which is the clone, he was going to kill him, and then Henry was like, nah, you don't kill him because you're going to be living with that because you do got an attachment to him. And so then Henry killed him. But, so in my theory, if this movie do well, there's a part 2. I believe this character, because he didn't have to get, he was up on a roof somewhere. He could have just escaped. He gave himself up and came to where Henry and Junior was and start talking. So I'm thinking he's a clone. The clone gave himself up. The real person is somewhere else. So that's my theory. And you'll be able to go back and watch this video if they're part 2 years from now. So part 2 come out and we find out he's still alive. You'll be able to date back to this video, Gemini 1, the review, and see my theory that was a clone. Clive Owen's character was a clone, and because he just gave himself up. I don't see why he would do that. He could have just kept it moving. Because I'm pretty sure they have the DNA somewhere in another lab somewhere. So the lab was never destroyed or nothing like that. So at the end of the movie, Junior pretty much went go on to live a normal life. He entered in college. Henry came and gave him new passport, new identification, and everything. And that's pretty much how the movie ended. And that was it. Overall, decent film. It was a good film, a good watch. I enjoyed watching it. You'll enjoy yourself too. This is his second hit for Will this year. He had the Aladdin, and now this is a good one as well. We'll see how I do in the box office. In my 4-star rating system, I'm going to give this movie 3.5 out of 4 stars. It was decent, watchable, action, fight scenes was good. CGI wasn't the best, but it was decent. Other than that, stay tuned to next time. Like this video, man. Share it. Like the video more than anything. Like it so we get in the algorithm and I can keep building this channel up. Till next time.